Parshas Yisro, Tavshin Ayin Hey. So I'd like to say that we passed Tu B'Shvat and spring is coming, summer is on the way. However, it's about, I'm guessing somewhere between 10 and 15 degrees outside right now and dropping. And so for those of you in the Northeast, you know what we're talking about, that as much as the groundhog says that we're having an early spring, it's going to be quite a while, I think, until temperatures actually warm up. But here we are, Parshas Yisro, Parsha of Kabbalas HaTorah. Last year we actually discussed the fact that this Shabbos is called Shabbos Kabbalas HaTorah. And once again we have the opportunity to renew our vows to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That it's a new Kabbalas HaTorah, a new acceptance, a new giving over of what we need and what we want to do to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And what we want is the Torah. We tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu once again this week that we are yours and we are accepting the Torah once again. And the Medrash tells us, at this awesome time of Kabbalas HaTorah, the Medrash tells us in Shmois Rabbah Chavtes, Amar Rab Levi says, Shnei Devarim Shalu Yisrael Milifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That at the time, right before Kabbalas HaTorah, that Klal Yisrael asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu for two things. They asked, Sheyiru Kavoidai, that they should be able to see the kavod of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Yishma'u Koilai, and that the Yidden should be Zaycha, and they should be able to hear the kol of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And what happened? V'hayu royen es kavoidai. They were granted both wishes. They made two wishes. They were granted both of them. And when it came time by Maimon Har Sinai, they were actually able to see the kavod of Hashem. We're going to explain what that means actually. They asked to hear the kol of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They were granted that wish too. Shenemar, the pasuk says, V'atoimru, hein heronu Hashem alekeinu es kavoidai, that we were zaycha, we're able to see the kavod of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as Godloi, as Koiloi Shamanu, Mitoich Ha'esh. We were able to hear the voice of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How? Mitoich Ha'esh. And we'll explain what all that means also. Nesivos Shalom asks a very beautiful, beautiful question over here. And he says like this. Moshe Rabbeinu asked, in Parshas Yisro, Moshe Rabbeinu asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hareini no es kavodecha. Allow me to see the kavod of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And what HaKadosh Baruch Hu answered Moshe Rabbeinu? I'm sorry, Moshe Rabbeinu, you can't do that. Why? Ki lo yirani ha'adam v'chai. A person cannot see me and live. HaKadosh Baruch Hu answered Moshe Rabbeinu. It's impossible. It just can't be that a human being should be able to do that. So, frek the Nesivos Shalom, how was it possible? And how was it that the entire Klal Yisrael reached this madrega of seeing Kavod Hashem? And Moshe Rabbeinu asked to see it, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu, no, a human being, it's really, really not possible for a human being to do that. But we just said that the Klal Yisrael asked for two things, they were granted both of their wishes. So every person, by Maimon Har Sinai, was zocheh to see the kavod of Hashem. So the Or Chaim HaKadosh says, on the pasuk, also in Parshas Yisro, the pasuk says, V'diber Hashem el Moshe panim el panim. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu spoke to Moshe Rabbeinu was face to face. Panim el panim. Zok the Or Chaim HaKadosh, what does panim el panim mean? Panim el panim denotes, it actually means, panim el panim means a reflection. That they saw a face-to-face reflection. In other words, and this is a very important lesson, and the lesson we're going to take out of this, the Or Chaim HaKadosh says that the level that Moshe Rabbeinu reached, the lofty level that Moshe Rabbeinu reached, directly reflected how much effort Moshe Rabbeinu put in. The relationship that Moshe Rabbeinu had with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we can understand with the words, Panim el Panim. And as much avodas Hashem that Moshe Rabbeinu put in, it was directly reflected. That's how much he got out of a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's the way it really is, says in Nesivos Shalom, with every person. sign your relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and sign your interpersonal relationships in life with other people. In other words, Panim el Panim in the Pasuk says in the Nesivos Shalom, it refers, like we know, we quote this many times, many different ways, Kemayim ha-panim le-panim, kein leiv ha-adam le-adam. And the way we explain that is that the way you reflect in another person, in other words, a person's heart can feel and know whether somebody else likes them, whether someone loves them, a person can tell. In other words, there's a spiritual feeling and a reflection that comes out of a person's heart. No one has to tell you what to feel. When you're around somebody, you get those vibes. Your feelings are generally a reflection of what the other person feels about you. That's kemayim hapanim lepanim, kein leva adam. The heart of a person is like a mirror. It reflects, and that's why they tell you sometimes, the Sifrei Musar always speak, and they tell you that if somebody comes and somebody does something really wrong to you, rather than starting a fight, and rather than cursing them out, rather than continuing a machlokes, be nice to that person. Just say, okay, what could possibly be bothering you? Let me help you. And that's the surefire way, basically, to always put everything, because a person, you can't. Your heart feels, reflects what the other person is doing to you, what the other person is saying, and that is the reflection. Nobody has to tell you what to feel. Your heart knows what to feel. And that was the panim el panim of Moshe Rabbeinu, the relationship between Moshe Rabbeinu and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Moshe Rabbeinu had panim el panim, he had this close relationship with Hashem, and he had Tzmunas Hashem Yabit. Moshe Rabbeinu was able to see. But you know what? Moshe Rabbeinu wanted more. He was asking for more than the one-time thing that Klal Yisrael was granted at Har Sinai. At Har Sinai, Klal Yisrael was granted a special connection because they had totally separated themselves from Gashmias at that moment, so they were able to reach this high madrega of that moment to hear the voice of Hashem, to see Hashem. Moshe Rabbeinu was asking for more. Moshe Rabbeinu was asking, not a feeling that now our hearts should open up, and the seeing of Hashem that Klal Yisrael saw, that was more of a seeing of the mind, of seeing of the heart, says in the Nesivos Shalom, that you removed all the Gashmias, and Kamayim Panim al Panim, knows you now had this feeling of closeness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Moshe Rabbeinu wanted, Hareini na es k'vaydecha. Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to maintain an actual vision of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Not just that for this moment our relationship reflects something that's very, very close. You know, we can't go any higher. We had that one fleeting moment in Kabbalah Shat Sinai, but we can't go higher because we're connected to Gashmias. And we pursue so much Gashmias in our day-to-day life that's a stira to being close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to our hearts opening up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kabbalah Torah was different. At that moment, Kabbalah Torah was a one-time event where we asked for and we wanted it, and we were reaching for the Kvod Hashem, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu granted it to us at that moment only. Because we were like Malachim. We were such a high level that at that point we were able to reach and be Zoicha to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Nesivos Shalom says that this inyan of Kabbalah Torah is not just at the time of a Kabbalah Torah. It's an inyan of Nitzchias. In other words, and we can look at this in many ways, we're going to hit a different angle this year. There's a part of every person, says in Nesivos Shalom, in the heart of every person, that is constantly reaching and striving to be close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Each person, of course, according to their madrega, but it's there. And one thing does not change, says in Nesivos Shalom, that the more effort you put into having a closeness and a relationship to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's how much you're going to get out. The same way that the Yidden at Kabbalah Torah gave everything, and they totally removed all Gashmias, and they were granted that if you want a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm not going to say we're going to have a relationship like Moshe Rabbeinu. That's impossible for the average person. But there's no magic. What you put in is what you get out. The Pasuk says in this week's Parsha, "Ve'ata im shamoya tishmu b'koili." Im shamoya tishma b'koili. If you're going to listen, double lashon of listen b'koili, my voice. See, the Shalom asks, what's b'koili? Why don't you say im shamoya tishma l'mitzvosai, like it says in the rest of the Torah? Why does it use a lashon of listening to the voice? The answer, it says in Nesivos Shalom, is that whatever you do in life, if you tune in, you'll realize that the voice of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is speaking to you every moment of your life. It's not an audible voice that you hear necessarily, but there's a voice you need to tune in. Shamoya Tishma, a double lashon, zero in. Make sure you really, really tune in very carefully. A double lashon of listening, a very deep hearing. And you know what? Sometimes we say, but how can I hear HaKadosh Baruch Hu in such and such a matzav in my life? The pasuk says, Koil Hashem midaber bahem mitoicha eish. It says in Nesivos Shalom, mitoicha eish means from the times of fire, when times are tough too. You have to know at every time of your life, no matter what's going on in your life, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the voice of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is talking to you. Just want to end off, like we've mentioned a few times throughout the years, the famous Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov says, he asks a question, on the Maimer Chazal, B'chol yoim v'yoim baskol yoitzitz me'achayrid. A baskol comes out of our sin and says, Oilem me'aboyna shel Torah. Frank the Baal Shem Tov, bomb kasha, it's a kasha, obvious kasha. Everybody asks it, why is there a voice coming out of Har Chayrid? We're not going to hear it. Why, what do we know? Every day a voice comes out, we don't hear it, and it tells us, and if we don't hear it, why do it? Zok the Baal Shem Tov, a beautiful, beautiful vart, and it's something we always have to remember. That you know what these voices are. Sometimes you wake up in the morning and you feel something. You feel a hira tshuva. The person feels, I want to be better. I want to be different. I don't want to talk lashon hara like I did yesterday. I don't want to treat the people around me like I did yesterday. You know what that is? That's a feeling. Those are the voices you're hearing from Har Chayrid. Those are the voices of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They're not audible. They're not voices that you have in your ears, because it's the neshama of a person. They're radio waves that go right into your neshama. They go right into your heart, and that's why we're saying that it's kamayim ponim leponim. It doesn't say your brain. It says it's your heart. It's your heart that feels like, and it's your heart that hears those messages, and that is the voice that we're hearing. So the lesson we have to learn from here is, first of all, that we're capable of reflecting, and we're capable of understanding and actually internalizing this lesson that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always talking to us. He's talking to us in everything that you do, and we have the capability to have such a close relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to make HaKadosh Baruch Hu a part of our life every minute of every day. But, says in the Nesivos Shalom, it's not magic. You have to put in the effort, and directly reflecting the effort that you put in, that's where you're going to go back. And the Nesivos Shalom says you have to try it. Try it. Give it a try. You put in the effort, and you'll see that you'll be zaycha, first of all, to a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you'll be zaycha to the real lessons of Kabbalah Torah.